The psychological trauma that this war and the last over 18 months has had on families has just been immeasurable. And of course, the families of those hostages that have waited for their family members to come home, obviously those are the luckier ones that have been able to be reunited. We know of the 59, now 58, with the release of Idan Alexander hostages that remain in Gaza. There also remain a number of Israeli hostages that are still believed to be alive. One of those is Omri Miran, and we're joined now by his brother-in-law, Moshe Lavi, who has been fighting for his release since October 7th and has been a voice for all of the hostages and their families since then. And Moshe, I know this must be a really difficult day for you, on the one hand, knowing that your brother-in-law still remains in captivity, but to see the release of Idan Alexander in just moments. Hopefully we will see that convoy come by. How are you feeling right now?
Thank you for having me. I want to emphasize first that I'm so happy and relieved to see Idan hopefully returning back home, reuniting with his parents, Yael and Adi, who became such good friends and source of support and love for me over the past 20 months, as we're both based in New York, New Jersey. But as you said, it's also a moment of concern for the families of hostages who are still remaining in captivity, because we don't know what the day will lead. There are two options. Either the US will stop its push for the release of all the hostages, or this release will lead to increased negotiations for all of them, including Omri.
You know, obviously we've heard Omri's name, time and time again, and I have to say, I always find it so moving interviewing you, Moshe, because you have campaigned tirelessly for your brother-in-law. I mean, he honestly would be so proud of just how much effort and how much hard work that you've put in. I mean, you've pretty much made it your life for the past nearly 2 years. But, for people who don't necessarily know Omri, I mean, obviously we got that video of him just a few months ago, but just talk to us a little bit more about him. I mean, I just think it's so important to humanize a lot of these hostages that have simply become sort of names in the media, but just to talk about who they are.
Yes, thank you for asking me that. I just returned from Los Angeles, where I participated in the Milken conference last week, meeting with officials and private sector individuals to do exactly that. Humanize Omri's story, and by extension that of all the hostages. Omri marked his 48th birthday a month ago in captivity, his second birthday in captivity. He's a shiatsu therapist and a gardener, lover of nature, humanity, enthusiast sport, a supporter, especially basketball and soccer, loves literature, loves reading, and an incredible father for my nieces, Ronnie and Alma, and devoted husband to my sister Lishai. We can't stop fighting for him. We can't stop living his story and making sure his name appears everywhere so that people can relate with who he is, still in captivity. And we received a proof of life for him a few weeks ago. Hamas released a psychological warfare video featuring him. We didn't focus on the video itself, on what it was said there. We focused on the fact he's alive, and it's the second video they released. And he's alive. We can still bring him home to Ronnie, Alma, and Lishai.
And Moshe, for you, having to be a champion for your brother-in-law, for Omri, and for all of the hostages there, be a voice for them both in Washington and in Jerusalem. And you're hearing from some family members of Israelis who remain in captivity there in Gaza, again, elated that yet another hostage will be released, but also increasingly concerned that their family members don't have a U.S. citizenship and wonder whether their prime minister will fight for them as much as the U.S. president has clearly fought for and achieved the release of their loved ones. Just walk us through that really complicated dynamic.
Yes, so complicated. I want to stress first that we acknowledge that the Israeli government led several deals in order to release many of the hostages who were captured on October the 7th. However, over the past few weeks, we have been increasingly alarmed by statements and moves made by the government that were counterproductive and to the cause of releasing all the hostages, and put the hostages as a secondary mission in the war against Hamas. This move by President Trump to rejuvenate, in a way, the negotiations. His statements yesterday, making clear that what he wants to see is the end of this brutal conflict and the release of all the hostages, puts again the pressure on the Israeli government on one hand, but also on other stakeholders in the negotiations, Hamas and their sponsors, Qatar, Turkey, and Iran. Everything comes together. There are a lot of different kind of negotiations taking part in the region this week and in the past few weeks. There's President Trump's visit to the Middle East, and we're hoping that this moment, this week, will bring about the release of all the hostages, and will make sure that all parties understand that we can't tolerate more hostages being held captive by Hamas, and that the end of the war needs to come with the release of them, and of course, a better future for Gazans that doesn't include Hamas in power.
Omri, just in terms of concrete steps that you are going to take as a result of what we're seeing on our screen right now, which is the imminent release of Idan Alexander, what options do you have open to you at this point in time? I mean, obviously, you touched on the fact that Omri just turned 48. His birthday was on April 11th, just a few weeks ago. And on top of that, this is the second time he has celebrated his birthday in captivity. He is a father. Obviously, he's your brother-in-law. He's a husband. He's got 2 small daughters. This is somebody that has just a beautiful life waiting for him back home in Israel. So just in terms of concrete steps, I know you said that you are incredibly happy about the release of Idan Alexander. That release, again, is imminent. I'm just looking at the screen right now. And we see people cheering, so I'm assuming that there might be a convoy coming. I'm watching it very closely. Yes. But just in terms of what you can do in terms of concrete steps to secure your brother's release and to secure that, to ensure that he's not forgotten, walk us through that.
Well, the first thing we as families are doing are acting in Israel. My sisters, both Lishai and Michal, were in the Knesset today, voicing Omri's voice, voicing their frustration that Omri and the rest of the hostages are not on top of priority of the officials, and making sure they understand that when they're making decisions, they need to look at the eyes of Ronnie and Alma, the eyes of all the children who have been suffering from this ongoing crisis, and tell them that we're not bringing your parents home or not bringing your siblings home or your loved ones home just because we have other priorities. And the second thing we're doing is, of course, continuing our advocacy work in the US. Again, we're not policymakers. Our role is to make sure that the policymakers, whether in the US, in Israel, and worldwide, understand that there are people involved here, that they need to take care of those individuals, and they have responsibility to ensure their release because they were kidnapped unjustly by Hamas, held unjustly by Hamas, and need to be returning home. And we put the pressure on everyone, not only on our elected officials.
Yeah, and as always, it is important to note that the onus here is on Hamas.
Oh, 100%.
If Hamas wanted this to end, they would release all of the hostages immediately. Kylie, I do want to get back to you quickly because we have seen this become a personal issue.